Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Skewered Universe Podcast. This is episode 4. I'm your host, Jeff. So, yesterday, Saturday, June the 2nd, I had the pleasure of getting together with my buddy Chris, and we recorded for damn near 2 fucking hours talking about Marvel Comics, the MCU, a few other tangents here and there while we were talking. It was just a good time. But since we recorded for almost 2 hours, I decided to split that recording into 2 episodes. So you're going to get a 2-part Marvel experience here. Episodes 4 and 5 will be the Skewered Universe Marvel Spectacular, if you will. So we're going to dive right in here, and for the next about an hour, you're going to get part 1. Enjoy. All right, everybody. So I'm here with my buddy Chris.
Yeah.
And this is episode 4. This is the Marvel episode. We're going to talk Infinity War. We're going to talk basically whatever you want to talk about for Marvel. So
Finally.
where do you want to start?
Finally happening. All right. So, wearing my Walmart Avengers shirt for $7.99. Cheap plug. Somebody came up to me and said, hey, look, you're a fan of Marvel? I'm like, no, dude, I'm a fan of Walmart. But I got all my Avengers on this shirt. You'll have to check it out. Maybe we'll post a picture of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I can take a picture and put it up.
But, okay, so in preparation for this, I just want to let you know that, like we were talking earlier, hey, seen all of the Marvel movies, and in preparation for this, I've actually revisited Phase 1.
Ooh, you went all the way back.
I went all the way back, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to be that guy that has the collection of all the Marvel movies posted on at his house somewhere, maybe in a CD stand or maybe on the wall.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
So I'm not really buying into all of this. Oh, you have to see it in this order. No, dude, I'm going to see it in the order that it was released. So it went back to Iron Man. It went back to The Incredible Hulk. Iron Man 2, Thor. I already had the Avengers, but I'm going to be watching Captain America soon. But all of them are going to be in Blu-ray. They got this thing where you can get your digital copy. So there's a website, mymovies.com, myremordmovies.com. So they're in the queuing. So, but I didn't get a chance to see Cap before I came in, so that's my bad. But I've seen it before, so if you want to talk about it, we could do that.
Oh yeah, Captain America, the First Avenger, I mean, that was... Basically, let's put it this way, that was my introduction to the backstory of Captain America. Like, I knew who he was.
Right.
But to see that, I was like, okay, now I get it.
Okay, let's just cut to it, dude. Who is your favorite, dude? Of all the characters you've been introduced in the Marvel Universe. And I got a couple questions for you, dude, so,
all right. My favorite, out of everyone that I've seen, and I've got a few that are close, but I'd have to say my overall... And it's just because of his attitude, is Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, this guy. You went with Bradley Cooper.
Which doesn't even sound like Bradley Cooper.
That's the
so
beauty
crazy,
of it.
But it's awesome.
That's the beauty of it. I'm going to go with Thor. Thor's my guy, dude.
Thor is up there as a close one, and it grew so much more after I saw Ragnarok. Because
Thor is my guy. He, I don't know, maybe it's the King's Speech, dude. Maybe it's that old English... way of talking, even though he's Australian, dude, but man, I just love that high speech, that that regal speech, that father. It reminded me of Ben Kenobi in Revenge of the Sith or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know
Anakin, you were my brother. Like same thing. You got Chris Hemsworth, right, going, father, please grant me the kingdom. He's Odin's son, so it's that whole back and forth. Then you got Loki, brother.
Which, by the way, I have to say, I know at some point these characters will be recast because these guys can't play them forever. I don't know how you're going to get somebody that can top Tom Hiddleston as Loki, because he just kind of owns that part.
Well,
but I mean, there's reinterpretations of all these characters, so it's going to happen down the line. I mean,
yes, there will be a shift that's coming soon. But they have an answer for that. We haven't even figured it out yet.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they've already figured out where they're gonna go. They're just waiting to let us know when the time comes.
So here's my next question, because a part of all of this the reason why I wanted to get to phase 1 first and keep on going
Right.
was because, excuse me, I wanted to find out if you liked the first Hulk with Eric Bana or the second one with my man, American History X. What's his name?
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Okay, so let me give you
Okay.
the insight. Okay, so a buddy of mine, we went and saw Hulk, the Ang Lee directed Eric Bana, with Nick Nolte and all that, and we both thought, wow, that was actually kind of cool. It was something different.
Correct.
We fast forward to 2008. The Incredible Hulk comes out. I'm like, well, it's kind of weird they didn't, stick with the guy who was in the other one, but I get it. They're starting this whole thing. I thought that one was far superior to
Wow.
Hulk.
Okay.
I enjoyed Edward Norton as Banner.
Yes.
I like what they did with the Hulk.
Yes.
It looked more realistic than the other one. Just looking back and comparing the two, the Ang Lee version, it was a little more cartoony.
Right.
But it just seemed like they finally figured it out with that one. And then, of course, what happens is Edward Norton turns out to be hard to work with, so they hire Mark Ruffalo on.
Ruffalo. You just saved me a Google search right now. Good. Forgot that dude's name.
Which, actually, I think worked out to be the best.
Do you think Ruffalo's going to get his own Hulk movie? No.
I don't think they're doing another Hulk movie.
That's it.
I don't think they're doing a solo Hulk movie. But if you look at Ragnarok, that pretty much
That is your Hulk movie.
Yeah, because it was pretty much like 50%. Once you got there, it was like majority of it was about the Hulk and all this.
Right.
And then the Thor stuff, in the beginning it was the Thor, and then you had this big thing with Hulk, and then Thor to finish it off.
Okay, so of the three, who's your, and this doesn't even matter to me, because we're on it, but who is your favorite out of all three?
Out of all three, I gotta say the Ruffalo version.
Ruffalo.
It's just something about it. I don't know. Like, I really, Edward Norton is a close second.
You weren't feeling Bana at all?
I did, but then looking back, I'm like, the
Okay.
performances of the other two just outshined him. And
Okay.
Bana's a good actor.
Yes.
Eric Bana is a good actor. I just...
Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here's my take. Because, and also, all right, I owned the Spider-Mans. I owned Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire.
I wasn't feeling, the other guy.
Yeah, it's...
Wasn't impressed.
He was better in the suit as the smart alecky, quippy Spider-Man that we know, but everything else was like, eh.
Not talking about the Spider-Man now.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking about
Andrew Garfield, the
Garfield.
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
Save me another Google search. I'm loving this. All right,
I remember all this kind of shit.
so okay, so all right, this is what I remember. I could be wrong, and there's a reason I'm going in this direction. So just let me flow.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
check this out. All right, I also wanted to get all the movies because I wanted to see all the appearances of Stan Lee, and I think his first appearance as a recurring cameo was in the Eric Bana Hulk. Are we going to do a Google search on that?
Actually, he was, because it was him and Lou Ferrigno were
Ferrig.
security guards.
Correct.
I think it was at the lab where the accident happened.
Correct. Now, I just saw that, so you have a great memory. Okay, now, here's my thing. Somebody, at the time the second Hulk came out, the Incredible Hulk came out with Eric Bana, people were like, Edward Norton, they were like, which one do you like better? I'm like, I like them both. They're both great. I think that the escape scene where he's running through all the little the little condos in Brazil, where he's going in and out of clotheslines with clothes hanging on him, and he's swinging through stairs. Incredible. It went so fast and it was so great. Okay, excellent. Okay,
Just in my seat there. Sorry.
there was only one thing in Hulk that I thought it was kind of campy. Is when the bad guy, he gets exploded and they kind of freeze him like it's a comic book. You'll have to go back on it, but they freeze him in midair when he has a big old explosion on his back. That was the only thing that was really campy. But that was an excellent movie. So I did the Hulk. I actually don't own that yet, but I did see it on cable. Saved me $20. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, it actually saved me some money because I was looking for that movie on Blu-ray on Amazon, and it said, "Oh, we have one that's coming from France," and I didn't want to take the chance of having this come in and only in French. Like, okay, I'll hold off on it. Luckily, HBO or Showtime had it on, so I just watched it. Okay, so that's Hulk, right? And then it was Iron Man 1.
Right.
Iron Man. And then it was The Incredible Hulk. Okay.
Yeah, both released in the same year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so then here comes Iron Man 2. Whiplash.
Which I really enjoyed. And
I've heard
a lot of people...
My man... Mickey Rourke with the bad Botox situation.
Well, also bad surgery after some of the boxing. And
That's right.
The doctor botched it, but that's a whole other podcast.
But he's the man.
Yeah,
he's the man.
I really like Iron Man 2, and I hear a lot of people go, well, it's not as good as the first one. I'm like, well, yeah, the first one was so anticipated and pretty much, damn near perfect.
They have a Ghostface Killer song in Iron Man 1. Yeah. I don't know if you checked it, if you remember that.
I remember somebody mentioning that. I don't remember which one off the top of my head, but I was like, I have to go back and watch that and find that song now.
It's the part when he is in the plane with Terrence Howard, who's a terrible actor to me, dude. I'm just not feeling that dude at all. Don Cheadle's the man, dude.
I wasn't feeling Don Cheadle at first. I was like, well, that kind of sucks. I wanted to see if Terrence Howard could actually handle it, and no, it turns out he was a pain in the ass to work with too. So they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna let you go. Your time here is done."
Lesser of two evils. Didn't he cry like on Oprah or something? Terrence Howard. Didn't he cried? What's up with these guys crying?
Something. I don't know. He was whining about something.
Oh, his family.
He's doing fine. He's got a TV show. Let him have his day in the sun now. He had his chance to be the MCU and he couldn't handle it. Don Cheadle is a far better roadie.
And we're just going on from there. Okay, so. All right, so now you're another recast is how many times are we going to have Howard Stark recast, dude? There was Howard Stark in Iron Man, then there was Howard Stark in Iron Man 2, or I don't remember if they showed just very little of him in Iron Man. Iron Man 2, he's played by one character, and I'm not sure if he got into Agent Carter, but then there was another guy who played either the grandfather of Tony Stark or his dad. You're like, dude, my bad.
Don't worry about it. It's all
Water. But yeah, dude, so getting past all these recasts, dude, and yet we're having another Fantastic Four. Another one. Dude, isn't this like...
I tried watching that version from, what was it, a couple years ago? I couldn't get through it. It was...
With the dude from Whiplash, right? The drummer from Whiplash?
Yeah, it was him and Michael B. Jordan that was just in Black Panther.
Michael B. Jordan,
and
right?
Baby Creed. And I turned it off like not even halfway through it.
Really?
I couldn't. So I'm hoping, because even though Comcast has come in and is trying to screw Disney out of getting the rights from Fox, I'm hoping Disney just lays down their big, money schlong and just goes, no. This is our shit. We want the movie rights back so we can get a decent Fantastic Four movie, even if it's just introducing them.
You want a Fantastic
I want a
movie.
Fantastic Four movie, but done by the Marvel guys, or even just incorporate them somehow into the universe, even if it's just a passing cameo somewhere.
I don't want another Fantastic Four. And
maybe not even their own movie, just have them show up somewhere. If you have another Avengers down the line, maybe they somehow get pulled in, and that's it.
I like Jim from The Office, but I don't need another Fantastic Four movie. I'm over Fantastic Four.
He was actually considered for the role of Captain America at one point.
Correct, but still.
After A Quiet Place, I could kind of see where they saw it.
Well, there's another thing, dude. Like, okay, we're gonna have the guy who played Johnny Storm as the guy for Captain America, like.
That's what was throwing me out. I was like, "There's no way he can do it."
And now,
like, Chris Evans.
And now you're like, dude, like, there's no other person besides Chris Evans that can play Captain America.
You know what? I'll be honest. When I saw Infinity War, and this is minor spoiler, but we're gonna get to it a bit. When he first shows up, and you see him with like the longer hair and the beard, I was like,
"Oh, dude, I haven't seen Infinity War." No, just kidding. Just kidding, dude, people. Just kidding.
For a second, I was like, "Wait a minute, dude, why did you come over?" Yeah, so I was like, "He's a good-looking cat with a beard." I was like, "Okay, let's get back to the movie." I was like, I'm not questioning, but I'm like,
And then there was a
All
reason
right,
for
yeah.
all of that. I totally forgot there was a reason why he had the long hair, because he's not really holding the emblem.
Yeah, because after the events of Civil War.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All
And that goes
Sokovia
into
Accords and all
that goes into another character that I totally forgot was created, was Nomad. Nomad was the I'll just save you a Google search. In effect, it's just Captain Steve Rogers as the non-Captain America.
Okay.
But you're not gonna know that until you're really going down the wormhole of Google and all the fanboys. So they try to incorporate Nomad, the character, into Steve Rogers' timeline. But yeah, dude, I'm over the Fantastic Four. Don't need to see it. It's not going to be playing a major. They're getting ready for their next phase, right?
Yeah.
But again, coming into today, I'm like, I better be prepared and watch all of Phase 1. At least I'll have 5 movies to talk 4 movies to talk about. But if it were me, I would incorporate... Well, okay, I don't know if you remember this, but in The Incredible Hulk, they had a different... It was in a montage, but they had a different... They had a different backstory of all the stuff that happened. The way Edward Norton, Bruce Banner, became the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
They changed the whole thing from what I think they should have just left that out. Now another recasting. Okay, cool. We have Sam Elliott as the first,
as Thunderbolt Ross in the Ang Lee directed Hulk movie.
and then we have John Hurt coming in, and he actually William Hurt. Well, yeah, my bad. And then they have him.
I wasn't trying to cringe.
Then he shows up again as that same character. I'm not sure if it was Infinity War, but I just seen him. Maybe it was Black Panther.
Yeah, he showed up in Infinity War. He had shown up in Civil War. And
That's right.
His first appearance was
Incredible
as that
Hulk.
character. I want to say it was the end credits scene of the first Iron Man. Where Tony, I think it was that he walked into a bar and saw him sitting there.
No, that was
something.
the Incredible Hulk.
Was it the Incredible Hulk? Okay, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
that's where Tony showed up. Okay,
Right.
That was the last scene for that. So yeah, his first as that character, and he's been that character since. And I'm like,
Good. Little.
It works. I liked Sam Elliott. He brought a sort of intensity, like grizzled military.
Yeah, we
guy.
don't understand why he had to be recast, but
Yeah, I guess it's just the whole thing where they're like, we're creating a universe. We're gonna, let's forget that version because it wasn't technically Marvel.
Dude, my girlfriend hates Gwyneth Paltrow. She hates her, and I'm like, dude, she's looking kind of cute as Pepper Potts.
You know what? I don't mind her as Pepper Potts, but all her personal stuff, I can just. She's fine as Pepper Potts. I'm fine with that. She works. She works.
Okay, so Phase 1 tried to come in. Came up a movie short. I'll go get that at Walmart. I'll go get Steve Rogers, Captain America. But besides that, dude, saw Black Panther. I hear the soundtrack with Kendrick Lamar is incredible, but that's a whole nother podcast. Jeez Louise, Kendrick Lamar is
music in
killing
that
me.
movie was really good, though. I mean, all of it. The Wakandan music, the hip-hop they incorporated. I mean, it was all...
Do I believe all of the stuff that I hear for the champion of the African American superhero community? No, I don't. No, but I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad they established it. Somebody was telling me, well, all they do is just fight. There's no origin story. Oh, okay, cool. I see that argument too. But hey, dude, my man is Thor. And when you said Ragnarok, I was like, dude, the only guy I couldn't really get into, but he kind of worked, was the dude from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
The guy that talks all shubba. Yeah. I didn't understand his role in that, but I kind of do.
I think it was just thrown in there as we need somebody who is kind of silly,
Charismatic.
Yeah, because it had a real Guardians of the Galaxy feel to it with the music they threw in. I mean, they threw in Led Zeppelin, the Immigrant Song,
Right.
2 different times in the movie. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm down with that.
Right.
And you just needed somebody who was kind of silly and quirky and seemed kind of like a villain, but not really, because I didn't really take him as a bad guy. I just saw him as someone who was this is just what I do.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm just here. This is what happens.
That's what I do.
So I mean,
did you watch it? Did you walk right out of the movie Infinity War like, what the fuck did I just watch? Did you come out of that like, what did I just witness here?
I did.
The movie,
because it was
the theater was quiet, dude. Nobody said nothing.
I sat there. I waited through all the credits like I always do because we've been conditioned as fans of these movies. You don't just get up and leave
right
when the screen goes black initially. And I saw people getting up and leaving. I'm like, well, I hope you saw this already because I know there's stuff coming.
Right. So.
And when I walked out, I was like, damn, that was really good. Damn, how are they going to rectify this? Damn, what did I just watch?
Okay.
And I actually listened to a podcast after that I had been holding on to. I didn't want to hear it because they talked about the whole movie. And they actually made a point that I really enjoy and I really think is true. This was the Thanos movie. This wasn't about all the other characters. Because when you think about it, this is about Thanos getting the Infinity Stones, laying out his plan, telling you why he's doing it, and then getting to the point,
I've never had it put down like that before. That's a pretty. By the way, I was reading an article about the guy that created Thanos. I believe it might have been Starlin, but the guy who created Thanos, there's a little history behind all of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you gotta.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, Google research. Ask Grandma. Google. Grandma knows everything. But yeah, I guess there was a way. You know how they're always tweaking it, and somehow they came to an agreement about this character showing up in the Marvel movie, and they even showed some of the panels from the Infinity Gauntlet. Right? It was at the
Gauntlet series
graphic novel,
yeah,
right?
Graphic novel, yeah.
And the last couple frames of that comic book were similar to they were trying to get that feel, but I didn't understand it at all, dude. I didn't understand that how it could have been crafted just a little bit different to make it interesting as an ending. Like,
right?
Okay, your ending to that movie depended on the last addendum scene, the last teaser, it depended on what you stayed after the movie for. There was no they left it way too open-ended. I think they could have put like a little button on it that was a little bit better and then added that extra, that extra tagline at the end. But I did not feel like, dude, we're going to be seeing Captain Marvel. I think that, I don't know, it was just a bad ending. It was a bad ending story, like, formula-wise, it was a bad ending. Not saying that the ending itself was bad,
right?
But the way that they constructed it could have been done differently.
Right. And I think their reason behind that, because these are the same guys, the Russos, who did Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and they did Civil War. So because those two were, like, the highest, I think they were a couple of the highest grossing out of all the Marvel films at the time, they brought them in to do Infinity War. And I think what they were trying to do was, let's not have a solid closed ending on this, because we know there's going to be a second part to this. So let's end it, but leave it with a little bit of a question, is like, well, what's going to happen? Have everyone leave the theater going, what? That's how it ends? What are you doing? So I kind of get it, but I see your point, and it makes sense. There could have been a little bit more of closure. I mean, not complete closure, but a little bit of something to be like, okay, that's the end.
That's the end. And it takes away from that. It makes you think about, like, hey, man, when they first started advertising this, dude, it could have been, they first advertised it as they were going to put the 1-2 movies in one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the one movie? It was another science fiction movie. I forgot what it was, but it was, we're going to do a 1-2 punch. Like, we're going to give you this one, and then we're going to give you this one, like, right after that. It wasn't a Star Wars flick.
Oh.
No, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings gave it to you like boom.
Yeah.
It gave it to you right away.
Like,
you're going to be seeing this in you're going to be watching the first one in January, let's just say, and then you're going to be watching the next one in November.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wait a whole
released
nother...
Well, they filmed all three of those at the same time, and I think they did the
Correct.
same with the Hobbit series. They filmed them all consecutively.
That's what I need. I think
that's what happened with the Infinity War movies. I think they were still finishing up some post-production when this was released, but they figured we'll release them a year apart, just probably because they can get it right in before that summer rush, and they can make sure not only are they number one at the box office going into that summer season, but they're probably going to be able to sustain a little bit and still
I think it's
some of that summer movie money.
I think it's pretty shitty, dude, that they built this up as the one. If you look at the long term of it, we've been waiting 10 years. Even the logo, the Marvel Studios logo, has a little 10 symbol in there. I think that was pretty shitty for them to... So are we wrapping this up in Avengers 4?
I think it's going to wrap up...
Or is it going to be another Infinity Gauntlet movie? Avengers Infinity Gauntlet. So basically we have a movie that's like a graphic novel.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see... Obviously, we're going to see some characters come back.
Right.
Because nothing in comics is... No death is ever permanent.
Right.
So... But I think what their plan is maybe wrap up certain characters. Like, their version is done. So we may get newer versions of that character.
Okay.
Maybe alternate timeline stuff. I don't know. Because we really don't know where they're going to go. So it's...
I haven't thought about the
a whole
alternate
thing,
timeline option.
But they've already talked about, like, Guardians 3 is ready to go. And there's some other films that are ready. And they're like, well, wait, these are spoilers. They're like, well, if you read comics and watch these movies, they're not really spoilers because deaths aren't really permanent. The only permanent deaths are, like, Uncle Ben and,
Right.
Thomas and Martha Wayne, as far as I know. There may be others, but they're the three people that have never come back, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, there is, again, not really a spoiler if you follow comics and all this other stuff, but they're already talking about. I'm not sure how true it is in the comics, but they're saying Bucky at one point replaces Captain America.
Yeah, I've actually heard that Bucky replaces Captain America and Falcon actually takes up the mantle at some point too.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, actually, I would be okay if they handed it over to Falcon. I was like, you know what? He's kind of the guy that kind of Cap took under his wing, kind of brought him into the Avengers, like, hey, I can get you in. You're a hard-nosed guy. You know what you're doing.
That's my guy.
So I could see where he could kind of take it up and become the next Captain America.
Did it affect you? Did you care that Ant-Man and Hawkeye weren't in this one? Did you care?
Didn't really bother me.
Bothered me a little.
Well, the only thing is because those two took the deal. If you think about it, they took the deal in Civil War to just go into hiding and not do their thing as heroes anymore. So they were like, you're going to abide by these accords and not really do anything? They're like, okay, yeah. They're like, fine. Go have your life. So I'm like, okay.
I'll tell you why Ant-Man bothered me. First of all, Hawkeye, dude, I just seen this, right? So I know what I'm saying. Hawkeye's first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is today's Marvel Cinematic Universe. Who knows what's going on, or if I might have missed a movie, is in Thor.
Yeah,
he's in there.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't really believe in Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, but dude, there's nobody else is going to be playing Hawkeye. That's your guy.
For me, well, Hawkeye just is really good at shooting bow and arrows. I'm like, yeah, but he also seems like he's intelligence and all this. I mean,
he's the man. That's your guy.
And I don't see another guy who could play that role.
Okay, here it is. Here's another one that just bothered why. Dude, Ant-Man should be in there. The reason why I'm saying that is because my man, Hank Pym, is the Avengers in my...
Oh, yeah. When you go back, because I looked up all about the comics and everything. And,
he's the man.
Yeah. I mean, he basically started, and technically, Hank Pym created Ultron. It wasn't Tony Stark.
Correct.
But I see why they had to change things. They're like, we've already established this far into the universe. We can't really...
And there is a Scott Lang in the comic books. There is a character that does take on that Ant-Man mantle.
Yeah.
But, dude, you're the man, dude. You're the man.
Yeah.
Like, you should be in there. You should be in there.
But I do like they tied it into him. I mean, essentially you can be like, he did work with Howard Stark. It seems like they've kind of tied that together, where Pym and Stark probably knew each other and worked together. Not in the Avengers fashion, but we know that Pym also used that technology as Ant-Man back in the day.
Correct.
So,
let's see. Yes, that is definitely true with that guy. But it bothered me that he wasn't in Avengers. And that, man, you add Michael Douglas and you add home chick from Fellowship of the Rings or whatever. What's her name?
Yeah, it's
she plays the elf.
Angeline Lilly. She
right.
was the Wasp now. She's gonna be the Wasp.
You add those three characters into Avengers, you're out of control, dude. Boom.
See, I think maybe they were holding them as they're like, we don't want to lay out all our cards and have all these guys showing, so we want to hold on to them as like, maybe as like, okay, we've just seen so many people just disappear now.
Right.
So who do we still have? So you can bring in Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Hawkeye. Be like, hey, we need you guys.
Avengers assemble.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, dude, I have another one. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, the role of Star-Lord in the Avengers movie. Did it piss you off? Was it too hokey? Was it? I'm not going to say what he does. But what did you think about his role in there?
I actually thought it was fine when you consider the evolution of the character and the relationship that we're kind of hinting towards. It did make sense. In that kind of situation, you know, emotions will run high. So,
too dramatic?
No, I didn't think it was too dramatic.
I thought it was a little hokey drama there. Little hokey. Come on, Star-Lord. Come on.
I enjoyed it. I mean, he is human after all. Well, part human.
And Kurt Russell as a dad,
man, that was awesome.
But now we're talking about Guardians. But you know,
yeah, I mean, come on, Kurt Russell's ego was awesome. I mean, technically, again, not directed from the comics because Ego was just a planet in the comics. But James Gunn has not done any wrong with those Guardians movies in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah. I
want to see more Sly. I want to see Sly. My man Sly.
Hey, you know, maybe Guardians 3 will see him.
Oh, my goodness. That's just... So those are the things that needed to get off my chest. I'm like, dude, like, man, what is going on? Star-Lord, like, dude, like, you're just... Dude, what? I'm liking the sister. I want to say Gamora, but that's not her. Is it her name?
Nebula.
No, the sister. Yeah, Nebula is the sister, but...
Yeah, Gamora's
green-skinned,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Colombiana, as I like to refer to her. I love to refer to her as Colombiana. Go check that one. Go check that one, people. It's worth your money.
I have not seen that one. I'll have to check because I heard she's pretty badass.
She's bad. Just to see her in a badass movie, you know, just like whatever. Is it going to win awards? No, but it's very entertaining. Hey. Yeah, dude, needed to get those things off my chest. I'm like, dude, what did you think about this? What did you think about that? Black Panther played a major role in that. Yeah, I think they needed to establish that character. I would have given somebody else a solo shot in the Avengers. Like, let's see a Vision movie. What did you think about the Vision?
You know, I liked Vision from the time I didn't know anything about Vision going into the movie. So I was like, this is a completely new character I know nothing about. New to me, anyway.
Right.
I know he's been established for years in the comics, but I liked it. And I kind of liked the fact that it was this, like, you know, artificial intelligent being, which we all know started out as Jarvis.
Jarvis. Correct.
You know, gets put into this body by Ultron.
Yes.
With an Infinity Stone.
Yes.
But I like the fact that the character evolved to start to feel, to start to realize, like, I'm kind of more than just this artificial body with this artificial intelligence.
Right.
So I'm hoping for more going into the next Avengers film. Like, maybe Vision isn't gone, essentially.
Right. Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
You don't know.
There's no telling. I mean, a Vision movie kind of be cool. They would probably have to do it like with Vision and the Scarlet Witch, which I mean, however they do it. But I wouldn't mind seeing a Vision solo movie.
I'm loving me some Wanda, dude. I can't take. That girl is just incredible.
Who would have thought the youngest of the Olsen sisters? Huh?
Incredible. That chick is out of control. But yeah, dude. Vision's my guy. Thor's my guy. The one thing I liked about like Civil War too is that it showed you the repercussions of what happened in Ultron.
Exactly.
Sokovia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason why we're asking you to register is because you guys aren't perfect and your shit just fucked up a lot of other people.
Exactly.
People lost their lives.
There were, things happened and there were consequences because of their actions.
Right.
Whereas other movies that have sequels, you don't really see any of that continuity other than characters may reference something once in a while.
Right.
Marvel's really good about keeping those events. There's actions and then there's consequences for those actions.
Now, I've never read the book Civil War. A comic book head of mine was telling me, like, yeah, dude, there was a lot of other things that went on and stuff. Because I was like, Steve Rogers dies in the comic book, right? Yeah, he dies, but there's a lot of this guy takes up the mantle or whatever. But the idea and the X-Men movies try to play into this too.
Right.
Okay, we have to register these mutants. That you have to be accountable.
Yep.
But to me, who's to say that the person that is asking for accountability is the right person to ask for that accountability? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we can't have you all just checking every mutant, every superhero. Like, who gave you the power,
Yeah. And there's the thing that I felt, while it's still similar between X-Men and what they did in Civil War with the registration, I think with X-Men, there was underlying tones of, like, we want you to register so we can keep track of you, know what your abilities are. It's sort of kind of called back to when we saw Magneto and his family get thrown into concentration camps. It kind of, to me, was kind of a callback to that in a way. Like, well, we can't have you, this certain sect of people that are different, running around unchecked. So we want to make sure we have you on tabs at all times. So I'm like, eh. Whereas Civil War was more like, if you're going to go out there and do this, we're going to have guidelines for you, and you need to be held accountable. And if you do something we don't deem appropriate, we're going to court-martial your ass and throw you in prison.
Well, the other thing to that is, it's a little, the way I see it as being different is that SHIELD, the U.S. government, the United Nations, whoever wanted to keep tabs on these guys, talking about Civil War, wanted to keep tabs on them as weapons.
Right.
It's a little different than keeping tabs on them as a threat to humanity. Right. We want to keep you as a special weapon. In Thor, it was like,
yeah,
he Coulson, Agent Coulson tells him, you are using weapons that are not registered or not authorized by the U.S. government. He referred to it like, you are not using the weapon as that is registered with us.
Right.
Okay, so all of these heroes are superheroes. He had no idea this came from Asgard.
Yeah, he had no
idea. Asgard, father. Father. He had no idea what he was dealing with, but what information that he had on him, Now I've missed like 3 or 4 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
See, I never
man,
got into any of that.
The big major mistake in not incorporating more of these guys in that series. They had Lady Sif,
right,
which is Tattoo Girl from that NBC show.
What is that? Yeah. I know what you're talking about. She had all the tattoos on her, and there was a mystery or something.
Yeah.
They all were like...
Well, Lady Sif shows up in one of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so it's kind of like a throw. And I fell for this, man. I fell for this bad, and I shouldn't have. But you always get the... okay, so let's say in the comic books, Secret Wars happens, right? And the story concludes, and everything's tied up in a nice little bow. But, again, there are repercussions of what's going on with Sokovia after all of that. Right. And you end up buying the comic thinking, oh, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a Secret War tie-in. And it's just like a little panel giving you the 1 or 2 lines.
One little panel.
Yeah, so kind of like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had kind of fell into that system. But little upset that Mockingbird's not in the Avengers because I think the actress who plays her is just silly, dude. She is so gorgeous to me, dude. Like,
see, I don't know because I never watched it.
Well,
so I may have to go back and check them out.
Well, as far as comics go, they have the Avengers, and then they have the West Coast Avengers.
Right.
Hawkeye and Mockingbird were a team.
Right.
So I would like to see Mockingbird and the Avengers show up, but that's never going to happen. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Do you watch Arrow and all that? I know it's shifting gears here.
I've kind of lost track for a little bit, not because I don't want to watch it, just because there's so much to watch.
Right.
So I don't know everything, but I did watch the seasons where they formed their version of the Suicide Squad.
Which I think they should have rolled with those guys, dude.
Yeah.
Personally.
Honestly, if you want to do it right, you got to kind of follow what Marvel's doing. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for 10 years.
Right.
They incorporated their TV show. Yeah, they don't have the big stars that show up on there. I mean, they had Lady Sif, but she's not, Chris Evans caliber or Hemsworth, these guys caliber, but caliber, not caliper.
I'll have to ask Grandma what that show is. But yeah, it's my chick loves that show. Like, oh, she's all tattooed up, and like, I think it's because you like the tattoos. Not has anything to do with what's going on.
God, I can't remember what the name of the show is.
Well, whatever. We'll check it out.
I remember because she was like crawling out of a bag in the middle of Times Square or something. And she's just covered in tattoos. I'm like, what the hell is this show? And then they showed the name, and I can't remember.
Yeah. It's like Memento.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
like,
what it reminded me of. I'm like, so this is kind of a Memento thing where they're going to figure something out, but...
Everything's different. Yeah, so if they had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I try to get back into the show, whatever. Have to upgrade my Netflix account in order to watch. But the bottom line, the bottom line is they have a Mexican ghostwriter. I think that's incredible. Incredible way to flip on that.
I heard people talk about that. They're like, well, how are they going to do it? Because they really screwed it up with the two Ghost Rider movies.
Oh, talk to me about those. Do you like those movies? I liked them.
I like them for the fact that they're just kind of campy. Like, the second one really embraced the over-the-top with all the action sequences.
Okay.
I don't think either of those movies were setting out to be, like, a serious, hard-nosed, like, dark, gritty kind of thing.
Correct.
They were just fun.
Right.
Like...
You need those movies.
Like, if you really wanted to do a darker Ghost Rider, then put it on Netflix with those series. If you want.
Like the Defenders and Luke Cage.
But from what I've heard, they have a really good version on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this guy doing it. Like, and I saw some of the images. Like, I went and looked up clips from the show when he would change it. I'm like, damn, that looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. So it's all over the place. I think they could have made room for, you open up the possibilities for all of these characters to show up, dude. Like, hey, let's see Daredevil in the Avengers. Let's see Luke Cage.
Yeah,
But those guys, as far as, a lot of going on, a lot of stuff going on with those guys.
Yeah.
We're getting right into Jessica Jones right now. Me and my chick, we're like, yeah, go girl.
I love the first season. I got to get back into the second season, but I'm trying to juggle that and watching Punisher at the same time. So
incredible.
Everything I've seen of Punisher is like
incredible,
just perfectly done.
Now you've seen Daredevil.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've seen both seasons of Daredevil. I'm highly anticipating season 3.
And then Punisher. You saw the first. You're into the first season.
I'm into the first season. I'm about 5 episodes in, I think. At this point. So.
my girl does not like Iron Fist. She's over it.
You know what? I heard a lot of people complaining, and the ones I heard complaining were a lot of the ones who read the comics.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. They were like, his martial arts doesn't look good. He doesn't fit the character. I'm like,
we're just getting started, people. We're just getting started.
I'm like, you have to realize they're taking some creative license with these characters to kind of fit them into a television role. You can't take somebody like Iron Fist and have him wear the green and yellow outfit and make it look legit. Like with Daredevil, it's a little different. He started out in the black, and then you see him get that red costume because he goes to the guy that was making the armored suits for Kingpin.
That's right.
And he's like, listen, I can protect you, but you're going to give me something in return.
Right.
I need some of that armor. I need you to make me a suit. You're like, okay, Daredevil had a suit in the comics. It makes sense.
Well, I like the way they play on those kind of things though. Like there's a Luke Cage. Have you seen that? Luke
Oh
Cage?
yeah.
Okay,
where they showed him when he busted out and he had the
right. There's a little throwback to that. There's a little wink.
The
You know, you're like, all right, cool. Like
the tiara thing.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, whatever, bro. He's like, psh, you know, he's like, whatever. That's cool. I like how they throw throwbacks.
Little nods like that are cool.
Howard the Duck and Guardians, right?
That was so cool.
You're like, oh shit, cool. I might see a Howard. I could see a little Howard the Duck. No Leah Thompson, no Josie and the Pussycats, kind
None
of
that.
rock group.
Do an actual Howard the Duck.
Yeah,
don't go, well, we're going to use the name and just create whatever the hell we want. I'm wondering if George Lucas did a ton of cocaine before that movie.
Well, you know,
whoa,
that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother thing.
Wow.
You've seen the movie?
Oh
You've
yeah,
seen the
I
Solo
saw it
movie?
as a kid.
No.
Not Solo. Not
you haven't
Solo.
seen
I
it?
haven't seen Solo yet.
Yeah, I saw it. Again, Josie and the Howard the Duck. Ship. You're come on,
that
man.
when we got to see duck titties and then she had sex with Howard the Duck. I'm like, as a kid, I was like, oh, this movie's kind of weird, so I kind of like it. Then growing up, I saw it again. I'm like, ooh. Man, I'm like, this is a horrible movie for Tim Robbins to get his start.
What is that? Why are those movies made? Because they weren't taking them as serious like movies, or they were just were they thinking comics? What were they?
I think they were just thinking like, hey, it's something that hasn't been done yet. Let's just do it. There's this character who exists. Let's just do it. I think is all it boiled down to. I don't know the whole story of how they went in to get Howard the Duck. Because at the time I figured, oh, this is just something that they came up with to make a movie about. Didn't know anything about the comics then. And then found out later, oh, he's a Marvel character? Oh, they didn't do it to the story, basically. Okay.
So it's basically just you're just your on-staff screenwriter. If those existed, we'll just kick this one out.
I think so. I think Lucas acquired the rights to do the movie and was like, sure, why not? We'll do it.
Let's see what ILM can do today. We'll do Howard the Duck.
And that's what we got. We got Leah Thompson and
I just
Tim Robbins.
I just think these guys have really thought about. First of all, you have to be in the comic book world in order for you to take it seriously, right? That's why we're here today.
Exactly.
You have to be in that culture to really give it the respect and the time it takes for you to come up with a script that goes into the human psyche, the human culture, in order for you to come out with an experience that you get in these movies.
Exactly.
But
if you're just a casual fan going in,
well,
it's
so we're okay. So were they onto something when they did? Wow, I can't even think about it. Like, were they onto something more than did it start off with being taken seriously with Spider-Man, or do you think they took it seriously when they did the Ang Lee version of the Hulk? Hulk.
I think more so with Spider-Man, because we got
Macho
3
Man
movies.
Because you got Macho Man in there.
R.I.P. Macho Man.
Oh my guy, that's my guy. But when did it make that turn? When did we really start getting serious about these things? Marvel did.
I think it really started then with those Spider-Man movies by Sony, because you had one actor portraying the main character through 3 films. You had other supporting actors who were still there through 3 films. So it wasn't just, okay, well, we did the first one, but, you know, this guy doesn't want to come back as this character, so
yeah, you're right.
We're going to recast him with this guy. Oh, Tobey Maguire's off doing another movie, so we'll just bring in Jake Gyllenhaal, who was a choice in the beginning anyway.
I forgot the timeline, but was the X-Men movies after Spider-Man? Yes. They were like in the 2000s, right?
Actually, I think X-Men may have come out before, so it may have started with X-Men, actually.
Right. And looking, you're gonna ask Grandma right now.
I'm gonna look and see, because I'm completely. I want to make sure I get this right, because all I need is somebody to send some feedback. You didn't know what you were talking about.
Who was that idiot that was talking about all that?
So I'm looking up the X-Men movie first.
Because again, you have to be serious.
So X-Men came out in 2000.
Okay, so Maguire probably came out. Because I remember when that first one came out.
Spider-Man came out in 2002.
It's hard looking at those first X-Men flicks, dude.
Yeah.
It's hard, dude.
Yeah, it's
2 and 3.
I despise 3. Yeah, so Spider-Man was 2 years later. So technically, we can say the shared universe thing started with the X-Men.
Yeah.
Or the keeping main characters cast.
Keeping
several films.
Keeping it serious. Of course, they're going to get star power. That's number one over story. I think they're like, okay, well, this guy kind of looks like Logan. We'll get this dude.
Yeah, I think then it was more star power. They wanted some names. I mean, Hugh Jackman wasn't a huge name at the time here.
Right.
But you had Halle Berry. You had Patrick Stewart.
Right.
So you had Ian McKellen. So you had some hard hitters in there who could kind of boost these other guys up.
Going back to the Fantastic Four movie, dude, you're not believing that Jessica Alba is Invisible Girl.
Nope.
You're not believing. There's no reason. We're just putting this out there just because we want to get the fans. We want to cash in on what the young kids are doing, right?
Yeah. And they were like, "Hey, she's a hot name. Let's use her." Hey, this Chris Evans guy, he was in, not another teen movie, so let's make him Johnny Storm.
The dude who played the dirty cop on The Shield, right? What was that his name?
God.
Yeah,
he was Vic Mackey. What the hell's his name? Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis. Good memory, dude.
Yeah.
I like that Reed Richards, by the way, but I couldn't I
liked him too.
I didn't see Fantastic Four 2: The Silver Surfer, but I'm kind of wishing that I did.
I did, and I don't remember any of it. That's how much of an impression it was.
Man, I remember that one part in X-Men, but hey, do you remember that one part of that? Nah, don't remember it at all.
Remember in Silver Surfer when this happened? Nope. It's like it's been wiped.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. This is what I've heard through the grapevine, right? Coming with this new Captain Marvel movie that's out there. We have the trailers, we have all the things that's going on with that. Are we going to be seeing more of the? And by the way, oh my goodness! Before we even let's put a button into that. Hey, dude, my group, the Inhumans, they took a total dump, dude. Like,
yeah.
Did you see any of that?
I didn't. I saw the trailers and they were like, "It's coming to theaters. We're going to release." I think it was supposed to be a movie, and then they said, "No, we're going to scale it back to a TV show."
Terrible.
They released one episode in theaters, I think, and then to television, and it just didn't go anywhere.
2, maybe 3 episodes deep, and it just wasn't. They were on to something, dude. They were on to it, and then
I don't know what happened. That's their first stumble, I think.
Well,
because look back, Guardians.
Yeah.
Even comic book fans were like, "What?" I had no idea going in who they were.
Yeah.
Lots of comic fans were like, "How are you going to make that a movie? That doesn't seem right." This is going to be the failure. So they took something that was relatively unknown by a bunch of people. Even people who read comics may not have read those, and it was a huge success. So what happened with the Inhumans? Something that may not be known by a lot of, even comic book fans. Maybe they didn't read it. They had just heard the name in passing, didn't know too much about them. So how do you stumble with that, but you get Guardians to succeed?
Well, I think they fell into the Fantastic Four predicament again. Let's just put this thing out there.
That's probably what it was. I mean,
because they could have done a lot better. They could have done a lot of things different with the. And I saw it. I saw like the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, wow, okay, that looks kind of cool. But then you're like, dude, that dog, man, they could do so much with that dog, and then they kind of made him,
like
they have dog trainers out there, guys.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean,
why does everything have to be CGI? And but I love the Inhumans. I love the story of it. I don't know all of the whole history, but I love that group, and they could have done a lot better.
They're supposed to be. They're like
mutants,
kind of,
so
right? I mean, in a sense, or not really.
Stellar. But... Okay, this is what I'm getting back to. Here we go.
So they're more of the cosmic side of Marvel, then.
The Silver Surfer, the Captain Marvel. Silver Surfer, Captain Marvel, and since we're talking about Guardians, a dude Adam Warlock. Are we going to be seeing that dude anytime soon?
See, that's the thing. I've heard James Gunn go, "Oh, he's not going to be in any of the Infinity War movies." But
why not?
We also got told for a long time Spider-Man's not going to be in any of the Marvel films.
And here
we're still negotiating to try and see if we can make a proper Spider-Man movie with Sony. And the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, hey, here's a trailer for Infinity War, and guess what? Spidey shows up." Okay, what? So we've been bait and switched so many times.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Adam Warlock could show up in Infinity War, and I'm wondering if between Warlock and Captain Marvel, that's what's going to be essentially what helps to take down Thanos. But I really don't know. I don't know a lot about Adam Warlock. You know what I know? I saw him in the X-Men cartoon in the 90s.
Okay.
One time. I had one of those little Marvel trading cards on him, and I thought his name was really cool. So I'm like, Adam Warlock, that's actually a really cool name.
Right, the design.
So when I saw Guardians 2, and they were like, oh, hinting at Adam, I'm like, oh, shit.
Well,
okay.
So my thing is, okay, so you have all these super beings, these supernatural beings, right?
Right.
Like, why can't we see another incarnation of Silver Surfer? Because he's a part of that.
Yeah.
He's part of all that stuff. How could
Yeah.
you not have... How could you talk... In other words, how could you talk about Thanos, Captain Marvel, Adam Warlock without talking about Silver Surfer? Because doesn't
the whole thing is the rights, because technically Fox, because he's so tied to Fantastic Four, they're like, well, he's included in the movie rights that Fox owns for the Fantastic Four stuff, so...
So, at this point, you're thinking Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, we're not going to be seeing those guys anytime soon.
Adam Warlock will show up, Silver Surfer, unless Disney is able to acquire those rights from Fox or buy Fox outright and just own it.
Okay, Disney.
I don't think we're going to see Silver Surfer anytime soon.
Because it's podcasts like this and fans like us that you start making your moves. I'm asking you, please get Silver Surfer onto the screen. Because wasn't there a famous voice tied to Silver Surfer?
Yeah, Larry Fishburne.
Oh, come on.
Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne.
Furious.
And if you brought him back, he has that voice. You could
Bring him back, Marvel. Bring him back. We need more people.
You could even bring back the same guy who did the motion capture for the character of the Silver Surfer. Doug Jones, who's done a lot of that stuff. He was Abe Sapien in Hellboy.
Okay.
And he was great because he's got that lanky frame, and Silver Surfer is this tall silver guy. So, I mean,
speaking of, just really quick, let's digress here for a second. What do you think about the new Hellboy? What do you think about that coming out?
You know what? I was at first really bummed because I wanted to see Del Toro get his third movie that he had set up and he wanted to do.
Right.
I wanted to see Ron Perlman get a final shot at Hellboy because I really liked what he was doing. So when I heard that they had recast and they were going the R-rated route, I'm like, I don't know, man. You lose Del Toro, you might lose something. But then I started seeing the images of this guy in the Hellboy makeup.
Okay.
I'm sold. On that alone, I think we're going to be good.
Stranger Things?
Love it.
That's the guy, right?
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I'm with you, dude.
I think it's going to be good, and it does help that Ron Perlman has given his blessing to the guy.
Right.
Because, I mean, when you think of Hellboy right now, you automatically think Ron Perlman at this point when it comes to movies. I mean, at least I do. I'm like, yeah. You know?
Ron. Yeah, Ron. Yeah, Ron.
But yeah, I think the actor who's playing him is David Harbour. He's the sheriff
Correct.
in Stranger Things. So
Correct.
apparently he was like...
Do you have these things written down? How do you know this guy's name, dude? I'm like, hey, the dude from Stranger Things. Hey, who's that dude who did the voice from Silver Surfer that I never saw?
This is part of my illness. I remember a lot of this stuff
right.
randomly.
That's right.
And
Jeopardy?
I'll pull it out.
Man.
I'll pull it out of my ass at random points. Like, how do you remember that? Even my dad will ask me, like, "How do you remember that?" I'm like, "I don't know. It just happens."
Computing.
I'll forget stuff for work, but then you ask me, like, "Hey, do you remember
Ron Perlman?
Yeah.
Hellboy.
They'll be like, "Hey, do you remember in like Guardians of the Galaxy there was that one character and." You know, it was like vines or something. I'd be like, you're talking about Groot. He was a tree. Oh, yeah. And then I'd be like, how could you forget Groot?
Vinny
of
D.
all characters, how do you forget Groot?
My man Vinny D as Groot.
His best acting performance to date.
Oh, man.
And this is coming from a guy who enjoys the Fast and Furious series just because they're ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh.
They are not good movies, but they are fun movies.
What about like Triple X and all those?
I saw the first one. I was like, okay. And then I saw Triple X State of the Union with Ice Cube, and I was like, ooh.
But didn't he have another movie that had like a little trilogy to it?
Yeah, Pitch Black, and then he was doing the Riddick character from
Riddick.
All right, so that'll do it for episode 4 of the Skewered Universe Podcast, part 1 in our 2-part Marvel discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In the meantime, before I drop episode 5 on you with part 2 of that Marvel discussion, why don't you guys head on over to skeweredhead.com. You can check out the Skewered Universe blog right there. You can also download the podcast at Podomatic at skewereduniverse.podomatic.com. It's also available in the Google Play Store, and it should be available on iTunes. I'm still working that out just to give you guys an update there. You can also find us on Twitter with the podcast specific Twitter handle of @SkeweredU. Just look us up under Skewered Universe. You'll find it there. Go ahead and follow us. I'll be putting updates there regarding the podcast, the blog, and whatever else I feel like updating there. You can also find us on Instagram. That is Skewered_Universe. Basically just, again, updates regarding the show, and maybe posting pictures of some new movies I get, games, and whatever else I feel like posting there. I don't do a whole lot on Instagram, but figured, what the hell. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll be dropping episode 5 for you pretty soon. In the meantime, keep enjoying the universe that's just a little bit skewered. Later, guys.